Hey everyone, I wanted to post an updated video for League Start Infernal Shade Poison Lich build. The gameplay is from last night's day 2 stream where we progressed to 300 corruption and finished off normal Aberoth. In order to do that, we had to make the transition from the leveling version of the build where you cast Infernal Shade on mobs as you see in the background, and then transition to the version where you spam casts on your own minions instead, which will show in a few minutes. I talked about the two versions in my previous League Start video and the difference in gameplay between the two, so if you want, please check that video out. Again, the leveling version is good for clear, but is not good for single target bossing. However, it feels fine up to like maybe 200 corruption from what I felt from playing the last 2 days of the build. So at that point, around level 83, 84, you'll try to want to get to farm Lich's Envy's gloves from the Soulfire Bastion, and then you want to make the transition around that like 84, 85 level. I've had some extremely bad luck on those gloves, farming those gloves. I ran the dungeon about 20 times and I only got one to drop when it's supposed to be a 30% drop chance. But RNG is RNG, I guess. Here's a comparison of the Lagan Harbinger fight at 300 corruption with the initial leveling setup first, and then I'm gonna have a comparison with the second setup after the transition. You're gonna see the big difference in single target damage without any of the AoE damage loss, but the gameplay is slightly different, so that's the main difference. While you're watching this fight, don't forget to like and subscribe, as we are at 990 subs and only need your help to get to that 1K. Thank you. The primordial choice that I made for this current setup is with Wings of Discord. I like this primordial because of the doubling effect of the idols. And it fits well for this build because of several acolyte idols, class idols, and also their enchants give poison support. So you are pretty much getting 2 sets of idols with the exception of the 1x1 slot. You also get the dodge rating, which synergizes with the new Reaper node within the passive tree for the dodge. And lastly, the first line of text on the item, where you take up to 32% less damage on the first hit from an enemy, is a nice little bonus for mapping. The opportunity cost here on the chest slot is pretty much the Mantle of Pale Ox for this build. But with Mantle, you're mainly getting damage mitigation with no offensive stats that you're getting from, the twice the idol effect. There's also no other primordials that I feel fit this build as nicely as this one. I'll also be running this if I get the gear to try the Flay Chaos Bolt build with poison, but that's gonna take a significantly more amount of time of farming, so we'll have to see. I have my current build planner for the character linked below. There's probably a couple questions that you might be asking. First, why the torch? Well, the main reason for the torch is because it provides access to spreading flames and has a built-in minus 4 mana cost to fire spells. This paired with Lich's Envy brings down the cost of Infernal Shade to 0, which enables us to spam it. Why can't we use something like an Ornate Wand with minus mana? Well, the reason for that is because the node that gives us the 40% more dot damage in Hungering Souls requires the mobs to be afflicted by either Spreading Flames or Possession. So by default, the Hungering Souls applies Possession, and if you turn that into fire, it applies Spreading Flames instead. And Torch, unfortunately right now, Torch is the only way to get Spreading Flames, so but Spreading Flame lasts 4 seconds, which allows us to spam the Infernal Shade, whereas if you didn't change it to fire and you're using a default Possession, it only lasts 1.5 seconds. So you practically have to spam Hungering Souls to keep up the debuff on the mob. There's ways around this, like speccing into Death Seal to shoot out Hungering Souls, but since the duration of Death Seal now is only base 3 seconds and can be extended to 4 with 3 points invested, but it has a 10-second cooldown now, so it's not a very reliable way of keeping the debuff on the mob. So lastly, why is this a poison build when we're running Infernal Shade? Well, the main source of damage is applying poisons from the combustion explosion node in Infernal Shade, which takes advantage of all the more damage modifiers within the tree. And there's quite a few more damage nodes. So, anyways, I'll have a build guide for this once I farm up and get some additional items, or get some upgrades, and try to get to a state where I'm satisfied enough to make a build video for. So, hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. And as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.